Okay, Shalom. This is our fifth subject when it comes to brachos of mitzvah, and here we're going to look at brachos on Sakanah, brachos on things that Chazal instituted or prohibited because they are dangerous. So if we look, we're going to look at this first Gemara here in brachos. The Gemara says as follows: Taraban shemen ma'akedes bracha divrei zilai. So they used to have oil that they would put on their hands. It's cleansing oil. Today, it would be almost like a sort of like a hand sanitizer that they would put on their hands, and it's called shemen. And Rav Zilai holds that if you don't use that shemen, if you don't put it on, so then you can't bench. Rav Zilai Omer Einu Makir. Zilai holds differently. He holds that it's not makir. It doesn't hold up benching. You can bench even if you don't use this shemen on your hands. Rabbi Acha Omer shemen tov makir. Rabbi Acha holds that good shemen that's effective works, and that holds up benching. Rabbi Zehumai Omer Kashem shemuzhum pasal avoda kachitayim muzomas psulos lebracha. So he holds that just as dirt is pasals the avoda on the Beis Hamikdash if your hands are dirty, so too dirty hands are pasal for the bracha. You can't bench with dirty hands. We don't know of any of these opinions that we mentioned before. All we know is what our Mishnah says. The right, this is what we learned from the Mishnah. The it says that you should be sanctified in the pasuk. And that's washing your hands before you eat. And you shall be sanctified. This is washing your hands after we eat. Okay, so that's the idea. So the question is as follows: our question is, are washing our hands after a meal? What's the nature of this? And is it a mitzvah? What's the idea here? And then the second question is, should mayim achronim therefore have a bracha? Okay, so the Rabbeinu Yonah says as follows. Rabbeinu Yonah, this is the rather long piece. He says, "Visem kedoshim elo mayim achronim." Right. So he's commenting on this idea that vitem kedoshim is mayim achronim. The sheishvem kedusha shemavir zehuma me'al yadam, because it has somewhat sanctity, because it removes the dirt from your hands. So v'kan yishal hakshos the hacha mashma the mayim achronim mitzvah. So now it seems like we have a question, because it seems that mayim achronim is now a mitzvah. Right. This mayim achronim is the hand washing after we finish eating. So it seems like it's a mitzvah, mishum kedusha, from kedusha, or parakol basar, mashma shehem chova. And we see from a different Gemara that it seems that that washing hands is obligatory, mipnei Sakanah, because of danger. Why does it say that mayim achronim is obligatory? Right, so it says mishum she'adam ochal achar sudaso melach v'yesh bo melach sodomis shemesayim esanayim, because they used to have as part of their meal this sort of like a salt from Sodom that was dangerous, and if you put it in your eyes, if you touch the salt, right, they used to eat with their hands back in the day. They used to take like bread and dip it in things, and then there was salt in this, and wherever it was, they had this salt, and if you touched your eyes after eating before washing your hands, you could blind yourself. So therefore, Chazal instituted wash your hands from Sakanah. So saying that it's from Sakanah, that Chazal instituted this to negate the worry of blinding ourselves would mean that it's not a mitzvah. That means it comes from Sakanah, and that then would be a contradiction between our two Gemaras. So Matartzim Rabbeinu Tzafat, so the French rabbis, Rabbeinu Yonah says, it would explain this fast. The lo kasha midei mishum kedusha amru shehem mitzvah. Okay, so from kedusha it's a mitzvah to wash your hands. And then so that was a mitzvah to do it because of kedusha. But then they added on that it was a chiyuv because of the sakana involved, because of the danger. Aval mitoch mashakasav Rav Acha mishbacha gon lamadu ikar davar zed demai damrinan hachashu mitzvah mishum kedusha ena omar ela ala mavarech. Okay, so now he has a chiddush from this Rav Acha gon, who says as follows. It says that when it says kedusha, that's only talking about the person that benches. Now keep in mind, back in the day, one person would say Birchas a Muslim for everybody. So it's only him that has a mitzvah of kedusha to wash his hands. The Keman Shemaskir Sashim Sarach Shiyito Yadav Kodem Shiyavarech. Okay, because since he's going to say Hashem's name, and he's the only one, because everyone else is going to be listening to his benching. He's the only one that mentions Hashem's name. So therefore, he has to wash his hands before saying Hashem's name out of kedusha. But everybody else isn't washing their hands because of kedusha, because they're not benching. They're only doing it because of the danger of this salt. So why does it say it's obligatory in our second Gemara? When it talks about the chiyuv and out of danger, that's not talking about the person that's benching, but everybody else. When we talk kach b'shiltos hamavarach nota yadav kodem bracha, acher ratzu kodem bracha ratzu achar bracha. Right, so that's why we find in the shiltos, which is a work by the Gaonim, that they say that a person that's not benching, he's being yotze with everybody else's benching, so that person can wash mayim achronim before benching or after benching. It doesn't make a difference. He's just making sure that he doesn't touch his eyes before he gets up from the table. And therefore, it seems though that they're making that mentioning for everybody else, but the mavarach, the guy actually benching, has to wash his hands first before benching, because he's going to mention Hashem's name when he benches. But everybody else who's only benching, only washing because of Sakanah, they can do it before or after they bench. They can wash mayim achronim. Okay, so those are that's different than what we said before. Okay, but now the question is as follows: how is cleansing the hands of filth a קיום of kedusha? Okay, okay. Now we see Rabbeinu Yonah goes on. He says, now, should you make a bracha on mayim achronim? Okay, so he says, what about that? Right. So he says, so since he has a dvar mitzvah that he has to bench, right, and he has to wash because he's going to be the one benching for everybody. But everybody already, the minhag is, although it does make sense that the mavarech should make a bracha hamitzvah before he benches. Why? Because he's going to be saying Hashem's name, and therefore he has a mitzvah to wash his hands, right, to get rid of the dirt, because that's kedusha. So therefore he should make a bracha hamitzvah on mayim achronim. It's already the minhag not to. Okay, Rabbeinu Tzarfat, excuse me, Milson Tam V'Davar, and they actually give a reason why. It says says because they back in the days their custom would be to bring this oil that we talked about after they wash their hands in order to get rid of the dirt, right? Again, like a hand sanitizer type of thing. So they would make a bracha. So, but nowadays we don't do the mitzvah the right way, meaning we don't use this shemen. So even the bencher, the mizami, the one that's going to be making berachos hamazon for everybody, even he doesn't make a bracha on mayim achronim. Rav Amram Gonzal kasav she'in mevarchim aleihem lo b'loshen netila v'lo b'loshen mechitza v'lo b'loshen shtifa v'nasan simon davar v'shimta. Okay, so Rav Amram goes so far as to say that there's no even like iterations of the bracha that you could make. You don't even say, forget about not saying al tesidayim before mayim achronim, but even if you want to say rechitzas yadayim, like you're just washing your hands, nothing. There's no bracha beforehand. Okay. The Rambam says as follows: Call notel. So just one more question here. Why is only washing for a mitzvah get a berachos hamitzvah, but sakana wouldn't? In other words, if the Chazal commanded us as a derabanan to wash for sakana, so then why wouldn't that get a bracha as well? Right? You should get, because we learned that you make a bracha on even mitzvahs derabanan. The Rambam says, "Kol notel yadav bein la'achila bein l'kriyas shema." The Rambam had said that anyone that washes their hands, everybody has to wash their hands for eating and for saying shema and for tefillah. Mevarach tefillah, then they should say a bracha. We're not knowing that way. We do obviously make an anates yadayim before we eat, but we don't make one before saying shema or shmon esrei. Shazo mitzvahs chachamish shesavinu min haTorah l'shmo'ahen, because like we learned. Right, there's a mitzvah derabanan to listen to the mitzvah deraisa to listen to the chachamim. So when the chachamim make a derabanan, we make a bracha on it. Shnemar api haTorah sheyirucha umayim achronim ein mevarchim aleim she'eina melam ne'asakana. But mayim achronim, this water that we use, this washing that we do before we finish eating, we don't eat it because we don't make a bracha beforehand because it's only out of sakana, out of danger that was instituted. But therefore, a person has to be even more careful about it than if it was a mitzvah. Why? So the Kesef Mishnah explains and because our Chazal told us that we have to be even more careful about a sakana than a mitzvah. Okay, so the Ravid goes along and says as follows. Here's the Ravid. The Ravid says, it says, so he says, I heard from the Gaonim. So he says, so they made a bracha of arachitzas yadayim and washing mayim achronim. And it seems like they're correct. Because they were dorish from one pasuk, right? So if there's a bracha on washing hands before the meal, and that comes from a pasuk, and the same pasuk teaches us that we should say a bracha we should do mayim achronim. So then why should there be a bracha on one of the things that they taught from that pasuk, and not from the second thing, meaning mayim achronim? And right, the Gemara says you're not allowed to bench until you make this until you wash your hands. So says the Ravid, if you have something that has like this dirt on it, if you eat something that has this dirt on it, so then you do have to make a bracha on called rechitzas yadayim, which is like cleaning the hands. And if you eat dried things, ain't on in bracha, she'ena el mishum refuah. Okay, and therefore it's only if you eat dry things, you don't make a bracha because that you're only doing for health. Okay, so then the Rambam goes along and says, why don't we make a bracha on mayim achronim? Because we only have it from Sakanah, like we saw before. And things that Chazal instituted out of Sakanah, we don't make a bracha on them. So what's that similar? It compares it to other things that we do out of Sakanah that we don't go ahead and we don't make a bracha. Okay, so we have 4 questions. That's our introductory shiur to this part.